Yo, it's Arkin and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over my favorite top 5 third-party plugins that can work with any DAW, and I'll also be showing a couple features within them as well that you can utilize for your own production. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first plugin I'd like to demonstrate is this guitar plugin. It's the Spiritbox Mike Stringer by Mixwave. Absolutely amazing plugin. It is my go-to for guitars, and the presets are very dialed in. You really don't have to mess with too many settings or controls within them. I will let you hear how it sounds in the mix. This is an unreleased track. So yeah, super solid tones, and I'll show you a couple of features within this. So it typically will default on this mono input right here. You want to always make sure it's on stereo input when working with guitars especially. And if you switch over to the cab setting here, you can really get some cool textures and tones. So a good guitar tone tip is if you start to move the mics further away from the center of the cab, you're going to get a warmer and thicker tone. And if you put them towards the center of the cab, closer to the center, you're going to get a brighter tone. So I will demonstrate that here and solo this track right here. Start to hear it gets really warm and thick, kind of beefy when you start to move them away from the center. So now I'm going to start moving them back to the center, and it's going to start becoming brighter. So yeah, you can really get some cool tones and textures just by simply messing with the mic placement on your cab. Also gives you some different controls within the angles of them here. And you can also mess with different microphones, different dynamic microphone, 2 microphones. I think there's condensers and ribbon microphones. So you can really get some cool tones within just messing with your cab settings here. Okay, the next plugin I'd like to demonstrate is this sidechaining plugin. It's called Trackspacer by Waves Factory, and I really like to use this for some more light sidechaining. Typically, I like to use it for my verses and builds. You can really dial in like where your fundamental frequency is hitting and dial back in those ranges. So this is routing right now to my ghost kick and ghost snare trigger here. So this one's specifically routing to my ghost kick, and you can see. So yeah, I dialed it back 20 Hz to 100, and here the middle knob is your ratio amount knob. I rarely go more than like 10%. This is definitely never go more than like to 100. So this is really like a taste thing of like how much you want it to pop through the mix, or pop through, you know, whatever you're trying to get it to pop through. And here as well, you get more control if you click this icon. Typically this will default to 5.00 milliseconds for your attack. I always bring it down to about 0.30 for a faster attack, especially during the builds. And here is my snare. So I found my fundamental frequency here of where my snare is hitting and make a very narrow band. Everyone is going to be different depending on where your snare is hitting. Again, only bring this up very slight adjustments. Brought my attack down. So I'll let you hear how that sounds with this. And this is on my verse bass group right here, so every time my bass is playing, these are really popping through the bass. Okay, so the next plugin I'd like to demonstrate is an EQ plugin, Pro Q3 by Fabfilter. This is an amazing plugin. There's so much to go over, but I'm only going to share a few of my favorite features. And I really love this for guitars especially. So I have this left and right signal here for my guitars, and I have this on the group of them. And so if you just have these 2 EQ points right here, you aren't really affecting both signals left and right until you select them and then hit this scissor icon. Now these are EQing both the left and right signal. So really great for guitars. Another cool thing is if you're playing them, when you hover hover over, you can kind of see where the harsh frequencies are. Just kind of have to hover over at the bottom and then kind of just like drag these points down. But just make sure whenever you do that you select them, if you are going to have a left and right signal, that you've hit that scissor icon as well to have this affect both left and right signal. Also, they give you more dB per octave, which in the Ableton EQ stock plugin only goes up to 24 dB per octave. So you really get some more dynamic control with this versus the stock plugin. Okay, so the next plugin I'd like to demonstrate is my favorite vocal plugin, the Howard Benson Vocals. Absolutely amazing. All these presets are super dialed in as well, so you really don't have to mess with too many settings or controls once you do find a preset that you like. I will just go ahead and solo this track and kind of A/B it so you can see how it sounds with and without the plugin on. I'm shedding my skin. I need to hide in my heart. And with it off. On. Just really lifts it up and adds a lot of effects. Really cool stuff. You can really get some cool widening effects here with the multiplier. Also, there's a really cool lo-fi button right here. So you can have a lo-fi effect. Even the echo has a little lo-fi effect as well. Really awesome plugin. Highly recommend for vocals. Okay, so the last plugin I'd like to demonstrate is a visualizer, Vision 4X by Excite Audio. And I really love this because I'm such a visual person, so to be able to see like what the music and audio is actually doing is really helpful. So I will just play this so you can see. So yeah, you want to make sure it's on your master channel. I always put it just at the end of the chain, and obviously I've dialed in these settings for myself, so this isn't the default setting. So you can go in here and there's all kinds of different colors, but I just like to see how it looks like this because this is typically how you see it on in Rekordbox or my DJ software because I'm a DJ. It really helps that way as well. Here you can also set your reference, which is typically for me is dubstep, and which is this reference right here. So you can really try to stay within this graph, make sure everything is sitting in the mix properly. Just really awesome settings that you can dial in for your own liking. Really just kind of see what the audio is doing and make sure that your mix and everything is sounding solid.